Thanks for joining us for Khari Free at Last on Bounce 23 TV. I'm Khari in Harlem. The National Affordable Health Care Act enacts sweeping reforms that involve millions of Americans. Union leaders believe Obamacare destroys the 40-hour work week and will end the American middle class. What is Obamacare? Joining me is the National Representative for Lyndon LaRouche, Harley Schlanger, POE Officer and Representative Tyrone Thomas, and TalkTainmentRadio.com host Earth Jallow. Harley, let's turn to you because you are the guy that looks all of this stuff over at the national level. Right now, everybody's talking about Obamacare. What is the good and bad of Obamacare?
First of all, it has nothing to do with health care. It has to do with insurance. And this is the biggest misconception because people think that it's
Whoa, whoa. Say that again. Wait a minute.
Please say it again.
It has nothing to do with health care.
Well, it's neither affordable nor is there care. So it's a misnomer. But you see, the point is that a real health care system is a government system which provides everyone like an extended Medicare. This is what John Conyers and others have been talking about. This is what Bill Clinton was trying to do years ago.
Right.
Clinton didn't get it through because the insurance companies fought him. Obama got it through because this is for the insurance companies. It mandates that everyone has to buy insurance.
Now, if you don't, you get a fine.
Yes.
Is that right?
Now, the poorest people are going to get a subsidy, or actually the poorest people will go on Medicaid, which is being cut all over the country. Then there's a group of 9 million people in between the poorest and those who have jobs that pay a little bit of money who are going to be left out. Even according to government figures, 9 million. So the idea that everyone's going to be covered is not true.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that there'll be 9 million people, even under Obamacare, that have no health care coverage?
Because they don't have jobs, they don't have ways of paying anything.
And the industries are cutting the work week, am I correct?
Exactly, and so people have to buy their own insurance because you don't have it. The unions are losing it because of the problem of the 40-hour work week being cut back. Corporations are dropping their policies. Corporations were given a year delay, remember?
Yes.
By Obama, even though the law says...
We weren't given a year delay. So that means that if I don't have insurance company, let's say I got, my hours are cut from 35 to 20.
You're going to see the IRS coming to your door pretty soon.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So I have to pay a fine if I don't have insurance.
But
if I get insurance, how much am I looking at cost-wise?
If you look at the lowest level policies, the so-called bronze policies, you might be talking about $250, $300 a month that you have to pay.
Right.
And you can get a subsidy from the government.
What's the deductible on those?
Those are $6,000 to $10,000 deductible.
Oh!
So here's my point, Khari. If you can't afford the monthly payment, how are you going to afford to pay $6,000 deductible?
You can't.
Exactly.
Tyrone Thomas, is this a good thing or a bad thing in particular for the African-American community?
It's a very bad thing for the Afro-American community.
Obamacare?
Yes,
Why?
because one, we can't afford it now. We can't afford health care coverage now. We can't afford to do the things we want to do. Even under Medicare,
Why should I
can't
keep
afford...
paying for your health care coverage? Every time you go to the emergency, you ain't got health care, I got to pay for it. Obamacare is supposed to take care of that.
Basically, the system's out of control.
How?
And no one's looking at it to see that the insurance companies are driving it out of control.
No, that's the important point.
How are they driving it, Harley?
Well, because what happens is you go to a hospital and the insurance companies work out the charges with the hospital.
Okay.
And that's why we've seen incredible increases in costs.
That's right.
Now, Obamacare was supposed to have cost containment. What's the cost containment? They're not going to allow certain procedures. If you're over 70...
The so-called death panels?
Yes.
Exactly. If
You
you're
mean
over
to
a
tell me
certain...
if I need a surgery and they decide I can't have that surgery, I just die?
It's already happened.
What?
And they're closing clinics. They're closing... Ohio's had cancer clinics shut down that were government funded. Because the whole argument, and this is the same thing with the government shutdown, it's how do we save money? How do we cut spending? So it's not about taking care of people. It's about how do we guarantee profits for insurance companies and banks that are technically bankrupt without bailouts from the government. This is part of the bailout policy.
Now, Earth Jallow, everybody in the African-American community is all up in uproar and thinking this is a good thing. Don't you think it's a good thing?
No, I don't. First of all, I was listening to something the other day.
Up. Wait. What do you mean it's not a good thing?
I was listening the other day, and it's so funny how uneducated we are. I had people saying that Obamacare, which was better, Obamacare or the Affordable Health Care Act, and people were saying the Affordable Health Care Care Act, they're the same thing, people, okay? That's number one. Number two, in the black household, with this economy, how are you gonna afford an extra $200 or $300 per month? I'm worried about the children.
Well, everybody's confused about it anyway. I mean, I'm not sure. How many pages are they now? 10,000 pages of regulations?
Everything we've had in the last 15 or so years has been about reducing the responsibility of government, passing it on to individuals. Now, if we had a growing economy, maybe you could make an argument for that. We have a shrinking economy.
I tell you what, Harley, stay right there. We're just getting this. Stand your ground in Ohio. Up next on Khari, free at last. Welcome back to Khari, free at last. Ohio House Bill 203 says a person does not have to retreat before using deadly force in their self-defense, so long as they are carrying a firearm lawfully in a place that they have a right to be. Woo, good gracious, what does that mean? Does this mean stand your ground? Joining me is National Representative for Lyndon LaRouche, Harley Schlanger, POER Representative Tyrone Thomas, and TalkTainmentRadio.com host Earth Jowell. Now, before I get to that, I wanted to get back just a little bit on Obamacare. Tyrone, I'm gonna get to you in just a minute. I know you like that. I know you're ready for stand your ground. I'm gonna get to it. Harley, you were saying something very significant, and I wanted you to conclude this piece that you were talking about Obamacare.
Well, what we're seeing now is a collapse of the old agreement about government. The idea of the United States is government is for, by, and of the people.
Right.
But we're now seeing government for, of, and by the banks, the insurance companies, the hedge funds, the grain cartels. It's a corporatist policy. Corporatism was the original name of fascism.
Will Obamacare save or collapse the economy? From your analysis?
It's not going to, it's just part of the continuing decline of the middle class and the poor people into useless eaters category.
But how? I mean, this is supposed to be helping them. This is supposed to be insuring those who are uninsured.
It was written by the insurance companies, Khari. Go back and look.
What, President Obama didn't write this bill?
President Obama, he's a puppet of these interests.
Oh!
He's a puppet of these interests from back in 2008. How do you think a guy emerges from a low-level state senator in Illinois who's considered a nobody to become president? He was picked up.
By who?
By George Soros, by Wall Street. You know, while this government shutdown was going on, who did he have over to talk to? He had Jamie Dimon of J.P. Morgan Chase, Blankfein from Goldman Sachs, Moynihan from Bank of America to come in and talk about what the policy should be. And the policy is bail-ins, bailouts, no Glass-Steagall, no legislation to limit the too-big-to-fail banks. And that's going on while they're discussing the debt ceiling and the government shutdown.
So they came in and gave them instructions.
Exactly, exactly.
Instructions. So are they pushing Obamacare? Are the big banks?
Sure.
How do they make out with it?
Well, because insurance company money commingles with the hedge funds and the banks. It's offshore. It's to back up the hundreds of trillions of dollars of bad debt that's on the books of the banks, so-called derivative debt,
so
credit default swaps.
What am I, as the average person, what am I getting out of Obamacare?
You're getting higher bills and less care.
I mean, you're saying that my deductible could be as much as $10,000. Now, what that means is that I have to pay out of my pocket $10,000 before my insurance even kicks in.
Yeah, the out-of-pocket expenses are extraordinary. This is what happened in Massachusetts. This was the Romney plan.
This is the Romney.
And it's been covered up. But the fact is, the emergency rooms are more crowded now than ever. And part of the idea was that people will be able to afford doctors so they won't go to emergency rooms. They can't afford doctors. And also doctors are going out of business because they can't handle the red tape.
Harley, we're going to have to do part 2 somewhere down the line on this because I want to do an evaluation sometime later on next year.
Absolutely,
to see how it's
sure.
going. Oh, by the way, how is it? They keep claiming they got all these people signed up. Is that true?
No, no one can get on the website.
And the website doesn't work.
3 years to prepare, and the website glitched out the first week.
Oh, my God. Tyrone Thomas, stand your ground. What is the significance of House Bill 203?
House Bill 203, it would make us similar to Florida. It would make
What's wrong with that?
It would give us the same
Suppose somebody comes in your house.
Florida
Suppose somebody comes in. That's a lawful place for you to be. You mean to tell me you can't defend your family?
You can defend your family anytime you want to without House Bill 203, without stand your ground. You can defend your automobile the same way without House Bill 203.
So what's the
without
difference
Stand Your
then
Ground.
between stand your ground and the current law?
Stand your ground lets that individual that walks around with a gun because he's fearing whatever or whoever gives him the right to do justice.
Is this race-driven?
He takes it out of the court.
Wait, is this race-driven or is it just about protection and crime-driven? Which one is it?
It's race-driven.
How? Document.
Because most of the bills are being generated by in communities that don't have the type of problems that you see in urban areas and so forth. What you have in Ohio, you have 16 white House representatives that came up with the current legislation. Okay, you have the Black caucus saying
Which is
no.
opposing it.
And you have the community saying no. They just had
finally
a rally.
taking a position on something, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll come back to that. Earth Jallow, you went down to the Trayvon Martin situation. Do you support or oppose the Ohio House Bill 203?
Definitely opposed to
Why?
203. We already have enough gunplay already. Can you imagine more people being able to carry in places like bars where you have alcohol involved?
You got more crazy people out here.
But still, could you
good
imagine
gracious.
a drunk with a gun in a crowded place? Then you have the mall shootings. Then you have, and then it goes on and on and on and on. So I can say,
We ain't even talking about what happened in Washington, D.C.
No.
Where they shot an unarmed black female.
I'm
and then
telling you.
Some reports say they took the baby out first and then executed her after. Well, anyway, that's another
Yeah.
story.
Well, you don't have to go to Washington, D.C. You can go right here in Cleveland,
Yeah.
Ohio, where they fired 137 shots into a car
Or in
with two
Columbus.
unarmed
Or in
people.
Columbus,
right here in
Ohio.
Columbus,
Yeah.
where a young man traveled 4.8 miles trying to get back to safety. And when he got to safety,
Right.
him and his passenger was gunned down by over 100 bullets.
That was here in
7
Columbus,
officers.
right here in the
Right
city
here
of
in Columbus, right
Nationally,
on
what
High
are we
Street.
seeing with Stand Your Ground, Harley?
Well, I think the main points that have been made here are the relevant ones. If you put more guns out there in a situation where you have more people with stress and drug problems and alcohol problems, you're talking about a Wild West situation.
So you support Obama's gun control?
No, I don't support Obama's gun
that's what
control.
he said. He said you must control guns. That's the Democratic position.
No, you see, there are ways. I think we need a mental health measure. I think we need to stop kicking people out in the streets and stop doping them up. And we need to do something about violent video games because this Grand Theft Auto 5 just came out and it's sold out within
Yep.
hours. It's just murder.
Yeah.
And people who are weak, and like this Naval Yard shooter, they said he spent 18 hours a day on these violent video games. So the problem is it's a societal breakdown.
So it's creating a mental framework that says that
and
this is
people
okay.
are terrified of other people. You
Yes,
see
they
someone
are.
who's not like you, and you immediately get the
Fear.
instinct, I'd better grab a gun.
Yep.
So House Bill 203 is not a good thing, Tyrone Thomas?
House Bill 203 could be the worst thing that ever happened to blacks in
Why?
the state of Ohio.
Why would it be the worst?
Because you take the justice system out of it, and once you take the justice system out of it, you give me courage.
So basically what it says is that if you come up on me for whatever reason, I can shoot you down now.
Yeah, and I got
Is that
courage
it?
to do it because I'm not worried about prosecution.
Absolutely.
And so that means it becomes like the Wild Wild West. Is that what you're saying?
We're already in the wild, wild west. We're
I'm
gonna
talking about the show up beyond
that.
We're gonna take it to the next level. We're gonna call it Star Wars.
But wait a minute, if somebody's coming in my house, don't I have a right to shoot that person?
You have that right.
In your
Yes.
house, you have that now.
Even before 203.
Well, then what's wrong with giving me even more power?
No. So now you can
You
go
You
outside.
want to go outside and track the guy
Khari,
down?
you just-
Exactly.
Shut it down. Shut it down, baby. Shut it down. Next up on Khari Free at Last.
Exactly.
Welcome back to Khari Free at Last on Bounce 23 TV. The U.S. government shutdown cuts vital domestic programs like WIC that affects millions of African Americans. Should we be worried? Here with me is National Representative for Lyndon LaRouche, Harley Slanger, POER Representative Tyrone Thomas, and TalkTainmentRadio.com host Earth Jallow. Government shutdown, Harley, but not really. We find that 80% of the government's still working. They sent home 800,000 workers, but I think it's 3.3 million, so most of them are still working. They're still bombing, they're still doing raids. So did the government really shut down?
No, but you see, this is a whole fraud. It's a dog and pony show. connected also to the debt ceiling. Look, what's the problem in this country?
Break down the debt ceiling to us.
Well, the whole idea of the debt ceiling is an arbitrary figure that we can't allow the debt to go above a certain point.
Okay.
But we keep doing it. We keep raising it. Now, what's the problem? Well, we're spending more than we're making. So what do you do in a situation like that? If you're a corporation, you go through a bankruptcy and try and figure out how to make more income. Now, the only way people think of income is taxes. What about creating more jobs? What about taking the millions of people...
Well, all the jobs are going overseas.
Well, not only that, most of the jobs created since 2008 collapse have been temporary, part-time, and low wage. So people who used to work in the auto industry at $45 an hour are now doing 7-Eleven jobs, night watchman jobs for
So not only
minimum
do I
wage.
have lower wages, I've got less hours, and now I got a big health insurance bill to boot. And now on top of it, the government shuts down. Are we crazy?
Well, we are, because the idea of austerity as a solution to a budget problem has been tried repeatedly in the third world countries, African countries. They've been destroyed by International Monetary Fund austerity. Greece, Spain, Italy, same thing. Unemployment goes up. The government can't afford to help people. You have people moving into the streets.
So what's the objective here, to destroy America? Because if it isn't, I'm beginning to wonder.
Well, the first objective is to protect the bloated, bankrupt financial system.
That's right.
And the president admits that. He says we have to get the financial system stable
Is
first.
that what they're talking about, bail-ins?
Yeah, we've spent trillions, $30 trillion to bail out the banks, and we're running out of an ability to do that, although the Federal Reserve keeps pumping $85 billion a month in.
Where's this money coming from?
They're
Just make it up?
They're making it up. Now, but they're going to take real money. The bail-in is in the Dodd-Frank bill, where they can take deposits that you have in a bank and give you stock in the bank. Now, if a bank is going under, why do you want their stock?
Wait a minute, you telling me that if a bank messes up, they can go in under bail-ins and get my money?
Under Title II of Dodd-Frank.
Because when I put it in the bank, it ain't my money no more. Is that right?
That's exactly. It's now considered an investment in the bank.
Oh!
And this is what the bankers were talking about with President Obama
Should we
last
take
Wednesday.
our money out of the bank?
Well, where are you going to put it?
I'll put it under the mattress.
It's not like you're getting big interest on it anyway.
No, you're not, exactly.
Shutdown, how is it affecting African Americans in particular with the WIC program? Is that a bad thing?
Khari, if you look at it, I mean, we're already under effect. But with the shutdown, you have people that mentally can't handle it. So those that are teetering or on the brink of falling over are falling over now.
Was NSA still spying on us?
No, they're not paying us. They're not paying us any attention.
Yeah, right.
We're no threat. We're no threat because
Hardly
one,
the NSA,
we won't take
the National Security
responsibility.
Agency spying on everybody 24/7.
Well, and
Is that
Dianne
right?
Feinstein has a bill to give them more power. They're going to move. It's like the East German Stasi state, where 1 out of every 3 people had some connection to the police watch.
Wow. Are we getting like that in this country?
Well, we don't need so many people because we have the technology.
Yeah.
This
So
is a
in terms
dangerous
of
technology.
Lyndon LaRouche has advocated a return to a productive society in order to deal with the debt ceiling and the deficit. What does that mean, Harley?
You take the biggest banks that are being bailed out and you cut them so that the commercial banks will be protected. That is where you put your deposits, where loans are made. But the investment side, the trading, the worthless derivatives.
All the derivatives.
They have to eat those instead of having the taxpayers bail it out. That's called Glass-Steagall. It was repealed in 1999. We want it back. There's bills in the House and the Senate to bring it back.
And you also are wanting to return to a productive economy. We don't produce anything.
Just
in
on
this country, do we?
Glass-Steagall, though, Khari, it's the Obama administration and the Republicans that oppose it.
Do we
together.
produce anything in this country anymore, hardly?
Bad debt.
That's it?
Yeah.
So we're playing with paper money. We don't produce. What products are we producing?
And that's why we have a real inflation, which they lie about. Think about what it costs you for rent, for gas, for food, compared to 10 years ago. And yet Bernanke and the Fed say there's no inflation, so the policy is going to be continue to pump money into the banks.
Government shutdown, what does that mean to you, Irv Child?
That means increase in food prices. It means increase in your day-to-day living. I mean, child care. What are these babies going to do if you can't get women's,
so who's at
infants, and
fault for
children?
this government shutdown, Irv? I mean,
I think everybody
is it John, what's his
Boehner?
name? Boehner? Is he responsible?
Those guys that we put in
Is it
there.
those just nasty Republicans? Is there responsible? Who's responsible?
It's all the
A
party.
pox on both of their houses. It's
What do you mean?
party politics is the game that we pay attention to. Behind the scenes, it's bailout and austerity. And if the American people would realize that, then we could do something. We need to put a torch to the rear ends of these congressmen and say, we want jobs, we want production, we want our country back.
Can we just get them out? Can we just get them out?
Well, you know,
we can every 2 years.
If you just don't have the money. So what you're saying is that what you're saying, Harley, is that unless there's a significant change in the way business is being done in this country is going down the drain.
We're bankrupt, and not only are we bankrupt
currently,
close to it, and we're in wars that are draining us. And the president, fortunately, was stopped from another war, but that doesn't mean, you know, he told the UN, well, yes, we were stopped, but I still have the right to do it. And so we're in a dangerous situation globally.
wow. Tyrone, if you sit and look at this, you're a big picture guy. What does this mean to you in 10 seconds?
It means that if we don't start being responsible and looking at who we choose to do our government business,
You mean our elected
we're in
leaders?
trouble.
Oh,
Our
my
elected
goodness.
officials.
Is anybody, so you want them all removed, Tyrone, or just some of them?
Hey, I say clear
you
the
ain't told
house.
me.
Clear the
Let's
house.
start.
There are no
one,
heroes in
one,
there.
clear the house and start all new.
Oh, no.
Because you can't hold old people
I
accountable.
got you. Dropping it like it's hot. Up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome back to Khari, Free at Last on Bounce 23 TV. The Pew Research Center poll says President Obama's approval rating among African Americans, get this, has dropped dramatically. Many point to his inability, to address African American socio-economic issues. Joining me is the National Representative for Lyndon LaRouche, Mr. Harley Schlanger, POER Representative Tyrone Thomas, and TalkTainmentRadio.com host Earth Jallow. President Obama's approval rating amongst African Americans, Tyrone, is dropping. Wait a minute.
And it already dropped here.
Wait a minute. No,
So it's nice diving. It's tubing
he was at
over here.
100%. How he dropped 20, 25 points? What's up with this?
Because he's not responsible to the people that voted for him. He's responsible to those that put him in office. And now people are starting to see that no matter how much input, how many media
So he's giving a lot of symbols over substance.
He's
He's giving symbols over substance, but no substance over symbols. Is that what you're saying?
That would be putting it nice.
I appeared with Dr. King, but I don't put any legislation. One example was Detroit. Harley, he had a chance to bail out Detroit. Did he do it?
Look, the city of Detroit is an example of the bail-in. People paid into their pensions all the time they were working as city workers. Now they're going to get 20 cents on the dollar, whereas almost the entire amount that's owed for the credit default swaps, that is the insurance on the derivative loans, is being paid back, $225 million. Now, what does 20 cents on the dollar mean? The average Detroit pension is $19,000 a year. So they're going to get about $300 a month, and they have no Social Security.
Wow.
They're stealing the money of the people who paid into the pension fund.
Yes, they are.
Now, is the president doing anything about it?
How are they going to survive?
They can't.
But
That's
isn't
the
that
point.
against the law?
It is against the
It is
Michigan
against
law,
the law.
but they're saying it's an emergency, and the emergency
So
trumps
where is
everything.
President Obama on this, Earth?
Well, that's
I mean,
incredible.
if you can bail out the banks, you couldn't bail out
You
Detroit.
couldn't bail out Detroit. Now
which
you
is,
have-
which is
yeah.
nothing. 18 billion was nothing.
But $85 billion a month now going from the Federal Reserve to the banks, you could take care of every city
Yeah.
with
Take
that.
care of everybody, especially me. Earth. Why is President Obama's number dropping amongst black folks?
He just told you because he decided not to bail out Detroit. Now those people who have been working won't get their pensions. Are you serious? And they can't do anything. They can't,
There's no- there-
So
it's in
Harley, you're
court.
telling me there's been no significant
incredible.
program specifically targeted toward African Americans coming out of the Obama administration?
Khari, let me take it a step further. This isn't a racial question. This is the whole country going down. Now, the people who feel it the first are the ones who've been the last to get on the train.
Right.
And they're the first ones who have the
But
train
African
detached.
Americans haven't gotten anything.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you ain't on the train.
hopes, but the
The
hopes
gay
were
groups
there.
have gotten something. Women have gotten something. Latin groups have gotten. Black folks have gotten nothing.
We
They
not
got
on
the
the train.
first black president.
Or am I lying about that? Am I
I
incorrect?
ain't sure they got the first black
We got
president.
healthcare
We got healthcare.
Because he's not black.
Harley just told us we're not even on the train.
Yeah, that's
we
it.
don't-
We
Of
ain't
course
on the train.
What do you
The,
mean?
you on
the tracks have been torn up.
Look, you on
That's
the train
point.
in Butler form. You on the train as the help. That's what you on the train as. We not on the train as at the table as players.
So what does the president need to do for African Americans, Irv?
I don't think he's gonna do it.
I didn't ask you that. What does he need to do?
He needs to acknowledge us. I feel invisible. I feel like he hasn't even acknowledged, he has not addressed us
It's
not
the
one
Ralph
time.
Ellison story all
You know?
over again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He needs to
Tyrone.
bring back the infrastructure of jobs where government, the programs that government put people to work, rebuilding this country. Okay? Once he does that, you can put
Oh, that's over in
Afro-Americans
China
back
now.
to
Forget
work.
it. That's over in India now. Forget
No,
it.
but you see, this is where
It ain't coming back.
Khari, this is where Glass-Steagall is the first step, where you say that the investment banks have to take care of themselves. We're putting people first. That's what Franklin Roosevelt did. Infrastructure jobs like the NWAPA, you could create 10 million jobs, North American Water and Power Alliance, 10 million jobs. You take young people who have no hope, who have college loans to
That's
pay,
right.
put them to work, teach them skills. That's how we did it to get out of the last depression. That's what Kennedy was
Thank
doing.
you. I appreciate everybody. I want to thank National Representative for Lyndon LaRouche Harley Slanger, POER Tyrone Thomas, and TalkTainmentRadio.com host Earth Diallo. And thank you for joining us for Khari, free at last on Bounce 23 TV.